Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us during the Lytham Partners Winter 2021 Investor Conference. My name is Ben Shamsian, Vice President of Lytham Partners. During this fireside chat, we welcome Victory Square Technologies, ticker VSQTF on the OTC and VST on the Canadian Stock Exchange. Presenting from the company is Shafin Tejani, CEO and President. Before we begin, for those not familiar, Lytham Partners is one of the country's leading investor relations firm. With more than 2 decades of corporate access experience, we've built one of the industry's most diverse and effective platforms for connecting small cap companies with high quality and focused institutional investors while creating a framework of best practices in all aspects of investor relations. Today's fireside chat is hopefully yet another example of where we can bring value to multiple constituents. We'll dive into questions in a moment, but one final item, I want to remind everyone that Victory Square is available for one-on-one meetings later this week. If you have not already signed up, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com. That's SHAMSIAN at lythampartners.com, or visit lythampartners.com/virtual and click the one-on-one meeting request button. With that said, let's begin. Hello, Chef. Let's start with you providing a brief overview on the company and your background.
Thanks for having me again, Ben. So Victory Square is a global tech startup accelerator focused on investing in disruptive innovation. VSC was founded, to kind of fill the early stage investment gap for a wide range of investors. So we provide VC investment access to the fourth industrial revolution. So niche industries like Web3, blockchain, gaming, the creator economy, NFTs, the Metaverse, and more within an audited, transparent, and liquid investment vehicle. So effectively democratizing access to the next generation of the best startups. Management's aligned with investors, so over 20% of VST has been funded with management's assets and management's investments, and we drive value by monetizing investments and reinvesting the gains into new innovations, with a basket of 25 portfolio companies or shots on goal. 6 of which are now hitting, kind of liquidity events, generating almost a 9x return on kind of our capital and cash committed. My background goes back 20 years. I started in the .com era in online dating. Saw how the internet was going to change the way we worked, played, and communicated and connected with one another. And was very fortunate over the last 20 years to kind of take that experience, the wins that we had, the ability to launch companies globally, to be able to ride successive waves in Web 1.0, 2.0, and now where a lot of VSTs is focused is on this Web 3.0 space. So again, like 20 years ago, we saw kind of the future of where technology and disruptive innovation was going to take us, and that we feel like we're in the same place today. And we've created VST to allow investors to get access to, those next big tech giants.
Great. So you talked about some of the areas that you look for investments. What initially gets you excited about those spaces? You've been early on a few of them. Help us, in your thinking big picture.
There's this quote, and I've used it quite a bit, but it goes, founders who live in the future have the best chance of winning big. And so even looking back 20 years ago, for us, extraordinary performance or asymmetrical returns, always come from seeing things other people don't. And so we've always kind of been at the forefront of this disruption, and kind of, living in the future to reimagine how technology can kind of solve pain points today. 20 years ago, I was a youngster and I was able to, kind of do that. I'm 44 now, and the way we do it now is by backing some of the brightest founders globally. So we have about relationships with about 80 incubators globally. So tech is borderless and great's coming from everywhere. We now have the ability to identify these bright entrepreneurs early, disrupting and solving pain points, and be able to back them early and kind of work with them and to kind of grow and scale their business. And I think given that we are we've got this access to this global pool of talent. We're seeing things first. We're getting access to things. Our entry points are really attractive. And I think that's one of some of the biggest reasons why we've had such a strong track record and continue to have such a strong portfolio going forward.
Got it. What are some of the key attributes you look for, either in a particular company or in a space that you're interested in initially?
We back founders. I think when you're investing early, you're investing in the jockey. Entrepreneurship and startups have been glamorized. It's not a hockey stick curve up. It's a roller coaster. So we try to back really strong founders with strong vision that can put a strong plan together. Rally a team. That's kind of what we look for. One thing to note: we operate called a venture build model at VST. So we're not passive investors. We act as co-founders in a lot of the companies that we incubate from scratch or invest in. So it's really important that there's an alignment with that founder, that management team. For us, that's everything. Generally their vision can stay, or their North Star and their why can stay consistent. But how they get there, generally there's an iterative process. And so that jockey, that management team is really kind of the key to our decision on investing and backing and working with that group.
Got it. So you're all about being hands-on, adding value to your investments. Help us a little bit more, sort of specifically, what are some of the things that you help the folks with?
Yeah. So again, this venture build model, before we even look at anything, it starts by identifying a pain point. So it could be a pain point that we see. So we've got a lot of subject matter expertise in Victory Square that can identify opportunities that we want to get into. Two, we've got an ecosystem. So we've got 25 portfolio companies where we're seeing opportunities in a variety of different sectors. And then those companies also have clients where we're able to see needs that large clients have. So the first thing we do is we look to identify a pain point, some sort of competitive advantage that we have. We'll then go and look for that company, kind of globally and through all those accelerators, find that company, and then act as a co-founder. So in some cases, the founder might be very sound sales-wise. We'll come in and assist with funding and some of the technical expertise. So again, we've got our own dev studio in-house to be able to provide quality, for quality development work for a large number of our portfolio companies. But we can also bring in the C-suite board members from our other portfolio companies to kind of assist and also be able to promote to users. So matter expertise, whether it's Victory Square ourselves or our portfolio company or strategic partnerships that we've kind of established. And then again, getting hands-on, so from operational, marketing, funding, to really kind of grow and scale them. And just this side note, a lot of this model was built off of kind of my own experience. So being an entrepreneur 20 plus years ago, I didn't have mentors. I didn't have, I didn't have co-founders. I made a lot of mistakes, but I was able to do that, 20 years ago when we were the first doing a lot of things. Today, tech has become very, very concentrated, very commoditized. So it's really important, I think, to have a strong team. And again, we're big sports fans here. So, building a company is the ultimate team sport. So we want to make sure that we can fill in all the gaps for that founder to give them the greatest chance of success, but also for us at Victory Square to mitigate our risk exposure and give us a high probability of success.
Got it. Thank you. How do you think about monetizing the investments that you have?
So our process, takes anywhere from 12 to 48 months. So again, identify pain point, scour the world using our relationships to, find the right company, right management team, the right entry point. So entry point wise, we're getting into companies and taking large positions with market caps of, 4 million Canadian and lower. Then we get involved, work with those companies anywhere from 12 to, up to 48 months. And our goal then at that point is to spin the asset out. upon spitting it out, we're seeing currently anywhere from a 5 to 10x return over that period of time. Once that company's spun off, generally you like it to be its own public company so that it can raise capital, conduct M&A, kind of grow and scale and increase the value of VST's investment. But once that company's spun off, VST's goal is to dividend a portion of our ownership to our VST shareholders, but also liquidate some of our position at a high, at high multiple to reinvest kind of in the funnel and into new opportunities to continue to compound the growth. But again, we still work with those companies long term because we hold a big equity position and we want them to be successful long term, which again, provides our shareholders with kind of asymmetrical returns. And so most recently, last year we did that with Fans Unite, which is trading. This year we've done it twice with Game On Entertainment, which trades under the ticker GET, and Fantasy 360 Technologies, which trades under the ticker VRAR. We also exited a position earlier this year where we sold an asset for 6 million Canadian dollars. So we built a self-sustaining machine. We can create liquidity for ourselves by taking money off the top when some of our companies are spun off or selling assets to be able to reinvest in the funnel. But again, long term, we believe that these companies are going to provide VST with asymmetrical returns.
Got it. Of your current investments, what are a couple that you're most excited about?
It's like asking, a parent, who's your favorite child? I'm super excited about a number of them. I'll highlight a couple. So, one is Fantasy 360 Technologies, trading under the ticker VRAR. They're a leader in the immersive technology space. So right now, there's been a lot of attention around the Metaverse. What Immersive's done is they've built hardware, software, and actual content. So they're in a sector and space that's getting a lot of attention. They've got a board and a management team that are, kind of second to none. Just to give a couple of examples, the chairman of Fantasy 360's board is the president of HTC China. Another board member, Kathy Hackles, considered the godmother of the Metaverse. So they've got a very strong team, first mover advantage. And in that sector, they've got hardware, software, and content. And so I think this kind of trifecta is going to give them a huge competitive advantage. They're trading low right now as well. They just, acquired an asset, a very strategic asset called Synthesis VR. So again, very excited about that. The other is Game On, so ticker GET. I think a lot of people may have been hearing about Web3, play to earn, NFTs, and just the gaming sector overall. Matt Bailey, who's the CEO, and his team, again, rockstar board and management team, have been building social games on the blockchain. So incorporating NFTs, really unique product, but not just an abstract product. They've got large enterprise customers such as Times India, the National Basketball League of Australia. So again, that's a company that we're excited about. Another is Creator.co. So the creator ecosystem is one that we believe is going to be a big, play a big role over the next decade. I think a lot of people have seen, this rise of creators and influencers on platforms like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So we have a company called Creator.co. It's a platform that connects brands with micro influencers. There's over 100,000 creators on that platform. They're cash flow positive. What's really exciting for us, though, is what they're building, kind of looking forward. So the founder, Vinod Varma, is building, a mechanism for creators to mint their own creator coins or social tokens, so that their fans can invest early in these micro influencers. Now, by purchasing the creator coin or social token, you get access that unlocks a lot of exclusive, kind of membership privileges. But also you get to participate in the success of that creator over time, and monetize through a royalty as that creator kind of grows. So those three companies are really exciting, for us. There's obviously a bunch of other ones, Victory Square Digital Health, that's kind of been built the Shopify of healthcare. It's looking to ramp up in 2022. And just everything we're doing kind of around exchange traded protocols. So right now, a lot of people are hearing about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Web3, all these buzzwords, but it's still very scary for people, the average investor, kind of get access to it. And what we're doing is, because of our first mover advantage and our relationships network in the space, putting together baskets of the right DeFi projects, Metaverse projects, altcoins into Victory Square, which is a audited, transparent, and liquid public company. But it allows retail investors to get exposure without having to have a wallet or worry about being hacked, or just a variety of those headaches that stress investors out. So I rambled there a bit because, again, our portfolio is one of the most exciting things, and those are just a couple of the highlights that we're really excited about.
Thank you. Let's talk about funding. How do you fund your acquisitions? You've not raised much money, but you have a nice balance sheet. Help us sort of navigate that.
So it starts with first alignment with management. So management, including myself as the largest shareholder, put in the first $10 million to kind of really validate this thesis. So again, we put money where our mouth was, largest shareholders, to kind of validate this thesis. But we built a machine, like I mentioned before, that was kind of self-sustaining. So last year was really a catalyst moment, inflection point for us. We started the process in 2017. Last year, which represented kind of like the 3.5-year mark, the first company got spun out, which was Fans Unite. Then Argo earlier this year came on, VRAR, and we sold an asset. So from those inflection points, we were able to create liquidity to kind of reinvest in new opportunities that we kind of saw forth. So it started by putting our own money kind of on the line to validate this thesis, and then that money producing a significant ROI, which allowed Victory Square to take some money off the table to kind of reinvest and grow the business. The other is through the use of stock. So this year alone, the last 2 investments we made, so one which was Stardust Solar, the other which was Creator.co, we made the investment with VST stock. And to note, VST stock at a premium. So we did the Stardust transaction, I think, in May of 2021, using Victory Square's price, valuing Victory Square stock at 89 cents. And I think at the time, the market was, had us around 50 cents. So again, the company saw a premium value of VST shares. And then we closed our Creator.co follow-on investment, I think about a month ago, which we value the VST share price at $1. So we're able to create liquidity by, these assets that we have that are at a premium now, that we can take some money off the table to reinvest. Sell an asset, which we did in March of this year. We sold an asset for 6 million Canadian dollars. And the third is to be able to use our stock as a premium to take advantage of these. And all along the way, issuing dividends. So just one thing to know, we've issued 2 common share dividends to VST shareholders this year, with a third that's already been declared, which will be issued at the end of this month.
Got it. So that brings us to the obvious disconnect here between your market cap and your NAV. What are your thoughts here? And yeah, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah. So, I think as an investor and a shareholder, it's definitely, disheartening to see the share price, kind of being declined, or a disconnect between what the value of the asset is to, where the stock price is trading. A couple of notes. One, I'm a long-term investor, so we keep an eye on what the share price is doing. We do everything we can, from putting out good news and continuing to execute at a high level. But we are long-term on Victory Square, and we believe that sooner or later that disconnect will go. And I think that's where I've always traditionally found my best wins, going where others aren't. Finding those hidden gems, and we think Victory Square is one of them. The second is, our NAV right now our unaudited NAV sits right now, I think, over $110 million. One thing we're going to be doing next year, and we're hoping to start in January, is to be able to publish our NAV at the end of every month through a news release. So we haven't done that up to this point, and if we can officially do it through a news release, we'll be having a third party audit it on a monthly basis, which is our goal and objective starting in January. Hopefully, that will give investors some confidence, and on that, and it'll also allow investors to be able to track the total portfolio on a monthly basis. We know some investors have said, "Hey, you've got so many different assets; it's very difficult for us to, to measure and track those on a monthly basis." So we've hired a third party firm to be able to do that, and so that we can do that on a monthly basis. So a couple of points there. One, we're long term. Two, to me, this looks, when there's that disconnect, that's where the opportunity lies for investors to actually get, good entry point into VST. And three, we're going to be, again, doing a better job of communicating that NAV, audited by a third party on a monthly basis, hopefully starting in January of next year. But I would, let investors know, if they're following our financials, they're following our news. Again, the business is executing at a very high level. Again, strong working capital position, strong assets. We've done what we said we're gonna do. We've issued dividends, and there's significant catalysts going forward. So I think sooner or later, people are going to catch on, and it'll appreciate in the share price. So we encourage investors. Now's the time to get in where there's a good entry point, and they can get in to Victory Square at a discount.
Great. You've obviously been very active in 2021. What can we look forward to in 2022?
We're going to continue to be active. I think we recently declared the third dividend that's going to be issued this year. So investors keep an eye out for that. Spin-off wise, we've got 4 companies that are prepared for that: Stardust Solar, Turnium Technology Group, Copilot, and Creator.co. So keep an eye out for those. And as those companies get spun off, the true value of those assets will be unlocked on VST's balance sheet, and there'll be common share dividends for VST shareholders. The other is, there are two. We have a very strong digital health portfolio. So one is Victory Square Digital Health, which is a wholly owned sub of VST, is going to be ramping up our sales and marketing for our Shopify of healthcare. It's this white label, full suite of mobile digital health solutions to surgery centers, skilled nurses, and kind of home care agencies. So we think that's going to be a big growth driver for Victory Square next year. Victory Square Health, which is our portfolio company in Brazil, we're working with them to kind of grow their roster of diagnostic tests, expand their digital health business in Brazil. So they've got this big first mover advantage. They've got the IP and technology to be able to, to launch kind of like an Everlywell or Get Roman or Teladoc type business in Brazil. So that's something that we're looking forward to next year. And then the new batch of companies. So every year, our goal is to double our NAV every 3 to 5 years, and that comes by 3 to 5 new companies, portfolio companies every year. So there's a couple of new ones. Again, I mentioned the ones working with the exchange traded, protocols around the Metaverse, DeFi, GameFi, DAOs, the Play to Earn project, and Creator.co I'd mentioned is kind of building kind of a decentralized social network, creator around their creators. So those are some catalysts that I think investors can keep an eye out for, within the next 90 to 120 days.
Shafin, thank you very much for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. To anyone out there who's not already signed up for a one-on-one, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com. That's SHAMSIAN @lythampartners.com, or again, visit lythampartners.com/virtual and click the one-on-one meeting request button. We all hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference and have a good day.
Thank you.